Hello and welcome to Sutton Impact Family Style. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill. And Jason, I want to jump on the WNBA. So, Jay, share your thoughts.
Well, first, congratulations to the All Stars for beating the Olympic team pretty handily, especially Reese and Clark. They looked fantastic, and the girl that won MVP, whose name I wrote down and I can't remember where I
Oh,
put
yeah.
this.
Ogulawali.
Yeah,
She was the girl that played for Notre Dame and, and crushed a couple of the Final Four games for them where they won. She was awesome.
yeah, no points in the first half, 30 something in the second half, and they showed a part
21
where,
in one quarter, right?
yeah, where I guess, and I learned this today, is that Caitlin Clark was sitting down to go in for her. She saw how hot she was. She went back and talked to the coach, and then sat back down and they let her keep playing. Which, and I have to say, given everything I've seen with the pushing and the shoving and the negative comments, I've been really, and I was not a Caitlin Clark person, but I've been really impressed with her, both on the
Yeah,
court and just her attitude. Because I feel like she's taken way more crap and questioning about who she is than she probably should have, right?
I agree. Agree.
Because it feels like it's
Very
almost,
positive.
yeah. And yeah, she brought 19 assists the other night. Um, and I was trying to remember, this is what we were talking about a little before we started. I felt like I never really paid attention to golf for most of my life. Like I was aware that golf was a professional sport. I knew the name Arnold Palmer and not just from the drink, and Lee Trevino from the Nintendo game. But then Tiger Woods came. And not that there wasn't a little bit of smart, old school people not loving Tiger Woods, but it felt like golf was like, we have something special. It's captured an audience that we don't normally have. It is making our ratings rise, our attendance rise, our sales rise, our merch rise. We are going to ride this guy to the top. And
Yeah.
I think those guys come around, if you're lucky, once in a generation. And in a niche sport that is, like golf was, like I don't think that happened. Wayne Gretzky for hockey, like you just, and you hope it's a Connor McDavid, but even a guy like that, like doesn't seem like he's really moving the casuals on board, right? You're always going to have
Right.
your base. But as great as Connor McDavid is, and Tavares, and some of the young hockey players, like I don't feel like hockey's ratings are really like, you're not hearing hockey in casual conversation. And the WNBA has Parker and obviously Caitlin Clark. And they have both captured something, especially Caitlin Clark, that is bringing in people like you wouldn't believe. And it feels like a lot of the players and even some of the commentators on ESPN are going out of their way to like hold Caitlin Clark down. And I don't quite understand it. And even the Olympic thing where it's like, well, she's got to earn it. And it's like you have, people that have been grandfathered in that probably wouldn't make the Olympic team if there were actual tryouts. And if you had any question about that, when you watch the young All Stars beat them up and down the court, and this is the team, the the established Olympic team that's played together for multiple Olympics for the most part, and they lost. And I feel like if you have a cake, and I understand there's probably some, we were the ones carrying this league, and we were playing, and we had laid the groundwork, but it's like, okay, great, but here's someone that's going to help everybody make a ton more money. And in a world where there is so much content, so many places people's eyes and attention could be going, right now it is on Caitlin Clark. And the fact that they don't seem super excited, they're not all embracing it, they're not doing everything, she's not on the Olympic team, just because again, I think about the Dream Team. The 92 Dream Team they inspire all sorts of European players, right?
Absolutely.
This women's Olympic team, which is phenomenal, they won the gold, I think, 5 or 6 Olympics in a row. The ratings are not there for them. If Caitlin Clark was on this team, even if she's playing, and again, I think Caitlin Clark would play, the Derek White role. I think she'd be fine basically sitting on the bench and cheering. I really do. But she would bring attention to the team, and she would bring more attention to your sport. And I don't understand the sort of mean girl mentality that feels like is happening. And I guess that's the end of my soapbox.
I also don't understand why you're never in a skills competition. The way she talks about it was her decision not to participate in the skills contest because she's got so much going on.
Yeah.
But everybody wanted to see her in the skills competition. Everybody wanted to see her in the three-point shot. Come on. This is an asset. Why put it on a shelf?
Yeah.
Use what you got, acknowledge the value of it, and let it happen. Just see where it goes.
I think if she's on the Olympic team, and I would put Parker on there too, right? Put them both together. Angel Reese, sorry, not Parker. I keep thinking Candace Parker. I would put her in. I would have Brittany Griner and somebody else, biding their way out of this, and put those two on there. And I think they would become two of the most popular Olympians right off the bat. And you're bringing, and then Olympic viewers that are going to fall in love with these two people are going to come back, and you'll give more viewers for WNBA. Like it just.
Yeah. Agree.
It just boggles my mind the way and again, the negativity from, because I was trying to think, was it like that in others? Like,
I don't know if it was like that when Larry Bird and Magic Johnson came in the league, the NBA.
Yeah.
Except the NBA, and the NBA was at the same kind of a point. They lifted the NBA, and they changed a lot of things that were happening in the NBA, and they caused a lot of attention. And they were there, and then Barkley came along, and then Michael Jordan and everything else. I mean, that was all great, but those two, when they came in, they lifted the league. And just like these two have done.
And again, it's one thing when you're playing against them on the court. Like, nobody is saying stand down and let them beat you, right? But, again, I'm old enough to remember Jordan, and, like, people weren't anti-Michael Jordan. Like, they would want to go against him and put their best foot forward and try to beat him on the court, which is what you want. But there wasn't, like, this negative chatter and seemingly, like, trying to keep them out of the club. And I just think it's detrimental and again, this is a sport you can tell that these women love and that they put hard work in and they deserve all their flowers that they should be getting that they just didn't get. But it's like, I'm sorry, you just, for whatever reason, it wasn't happening when you were there, but it's happening now. And you should be just, talking her up like you should be talking to her like she's Mahomes. You should be talking to her like she's Lamar Jackson or, Anthony Edwards or, Victor Wembanyama. And you look at other young stars in other leagues where everyone's like, you heard the way people talked about Wembanyama. I know he's physically a very different, but, LeBron is like, this guy could be the future of the NBA. And, that's the ambassadorship you want from your veterans.
Exactly.
And I don't feel like we're getting that. And I think it's really stupid. I don't know what else I know that sounds harsh, but that's.
No, it does.
And again, I completely understand we did this whole time because many people have had that job where you feel like you're underappreciated. But now's a chance to watch your league be lifted up, and you should be talking to her like again, Anthony Edwards getting Jordan comparisons, LeBron and everybody saying Victor Wembanyama is going to run this league for be an alien on the court. Like that should be the kind of hype the other players are talking about, and we're kind of getting the opposite.
Yeah.
And I'll stop there.
And it's kind of goofy because the resentment's like, we should have been getting this attention all along. We should have been getting this money all along. We should have been flying first class all along. Yeah, but you weren't.
Yeah.
And you can't jump in the DeLorean and go back and change it.
Yeah.
It is what it is. This is what it took. Hey, enjoy the flight.
Yeah. And enjoy everything, all the accolades that would come, that would come after. Like it was all there for you, and it's weird, but yeah.
Well, let's talk about your favorite thing, since it's almost. I pointed out that I was in shock this morning, knowing that a week from Thursday is the first NFL exhibition game.
Oh yeah.
So we're close, and it's the sport in America, and there's a lot of exciting players entering the league, and some people have changed spots, and there's a lot of still contracts to be signed. It's exciting. I'm all ready and raring to go on this one.
Yeah, and I don't know why, but did you see the Xavier Worthy catching the 60-yard pass from Patrick Mahomes running the opposite way?
Yeah.
Like, that was Chiefs on Chiefs in a practice, and I don't know why, but I was like, oh, that's exciting.
It is exciting because you're saying, ever since Tyreek Hill was gone, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And now Sheree Rice is maybe going to be suspended. And you didn't have great receivers last year anyhow. Where are you going to go? Can the Chiefs three-peat? That's the story. It's
yeah.
a storyline.
And again, I know we say this every year, and we'll say it next week in our NFL preview, but I can picture more teams being competitive in the NFL than usually. I could probably right now, before the season even starts, tell you the 6 teams I think could win an NBA championship next year. I can get a lot higher in the NFL. It just
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and that's not even factoring in the team decimated by injuries and some other weird stuff. Like they do a great job in this league.
They do, and so let me throw out the Jim Harbaugh quote, or John Harbaugh. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That Lamar Jackson is going to turn out to be the best quarterback in NFL history.
which
And I just, why would you even say that? It's fair. It's not fair to Lamar Jackson. It puts a bullseye on his back.
yeah,
But I mean, you got even his contemporaries. I mean, you got Patrick Mahomes, who's already got
3.
Super Bowls.
Yeah.
3 Super Bowls. And you've got, other guys. I mean, Brock Purdy, you've got a bunch of guys. I mean, he's probably better than Brock Purdy. I don't think he's better than Patrick Mahomes.
No, Patrick Mahomes is in a tier by himself. But then you got whatever you think of Josh Allen and whatever you think of Joe Burrow if he's healthy, in his own conference.
That's right. All these guys, yeah, they're all good.
Jordan Love, yeah. I mean, you go down the list.
I don't think any of them are going to be the best quarterback of all time. I mean, there's a guy named Brady who has every record in the longevity and 6 Super Bowls and everything else. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Is Lamar Jackson going to win 6 Super Bowls? I don't think so.
Not with all.
I don't see that happening.
No, and as we pointed out, they're in a buzzsaw of a division because the Steelers play them tough every year, and that's not even our Steeler Minute Homer Steeler talk. That's just a fact. The Browns are a weird, interesting team that's got a lot of talent. The Bengals with a healthy Burrow, and that's just to get out of the AFC North. That doesn't include, risers like C.J. Stroud and Houston. Obviously, the Chiefs. We don't know what the Chargers on the other Harbaugh are going to be, but they said, Josh Allen is still around.
The Jets under Aaron Rodgers, the Bills, yeah.
The Dolphins and that's just the AFC. And
that's a tough comment.
And what Brady
I heard that this morning, and I said, "Whoa, why would you even say that?"
Yeah, because it's one thing to hype up your guy, but that's just it's too much. And for a guy that has 2 MVPs and 0 Super Bowl appearances, he's trending more towards Embiid than he is, I don't know, LeBron. For a modern day comparison, I guess.
Oh, no question. No question.
And I guess that we can. Yeah. What do you think about Embiid not playing for France and playing for America? Because on the one hand, I'll give you my thought process and let you, because I just sprung it on you without giving it. This will give you some time to think through it. Like, it's sort of the perfect American tale, right? Immigrant comes here, makes his way, becomes an international superstar playing in America, and joins the American team. And at the same time, somebody that just got benched on that team. It sort of feels like, he just wanted to be part of a winner and didn't want to do anything on his... Like, I don't think Jokic would ever play for America. I don't think Doncic would ever play for America. I don't think Wembanyama was ever going to play for America. But Embiid would. And...
Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things, I understand it. I don't know where I am with it.
And again, I know he makes his living here. He's been here for 10 years. So, I'm not saying I just feel like competitively, I think it's cooler if he would have played for his home country. And then I guess while we're here, shout out to the Sudan, right?
Yeah, really. I mean, who saw that coming? They were 43.5-point underdogs.
And they lost by a point to America. Just incredible. Yeah. And they didn't look like... They looked like they belonged, Like
they did look like they belonged. They played well.
They played well. They had, it wasn't just a couple of athletes or 1 or 2 good players. Like, they looked like they knew what they were doing. And it's good to see just from a global standpoint with the game.
And I saw that, what did I see? I saw a couple of guys that played in the NBA that I hadn't heard of them, but I mean, they were there.
Yeah. But I mean, if you get a chance to, come in the NBA and then bring that craft back and, help some people out in your hometown, like, you're going to get some good results.
it's interesting how it all's going to play out. I mean, we'll see how they play. I mean, is this the best Olympic team for the U.S.? That's, interesting to see. There's a lot of long in the tooth on that team.
There is. It's still hard to imagine because it still feels like this is the Avengers and every other team basically just has Batman. And maybe they have Batman and Robin. But they're still going against like the entire Avengers squad. So,
yeah.
I mean, France, you obviously have Gobert and Wembanyama, which is a nice 1-2 punch, and a couple of other.
And they lost today.
And they lost, yeah. And Jokic and his team have lost, and Doncic and his team have lost. So it's like, I mean, they have,
these aren't the real games yet.
Yeah, no, not yet.
So we'll see what happens. We'll see where it goes.
Exactly.
But, I've got Peacock, I've got NBC, so I'll watch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought they did a pretty good job with the streaming Olympic stuff last year. And I'm sure they'll get a little bit better this year.
Yeah, really good. So I'm looking forward to that. Shout out to Xander Schauffele for winning the British Open.
Yeah.
And I love watching the British Open because, you see every ounce of weather coming through during the course of the day. They're right on the ocean. They're playing in wind and the rain switches and everything. It's tough to play.
Yeah, which is...
it's fun watching. And you see a guy that was on the leaderboard. The leader finished, the leader going into Sunday, I think finished 4th. And the guy that was second, I think finished like 9th or 10th. I mean, it's a real shift, a real change. It was fun to watch.
Yeah.
So, in our American Pride moment, so the Americans swept all 4 of golf's biggest prizes this year, all 4 biggest championships.
Good job, USA.
Xander Schauffele winning 2 of them.
But again, back to our little WNBA, he's not Tiger Woods. You got to take advantage when that person's there.
Yeah, I mean, I watched, I had it on, what was I watching? It was on Peacock. I think it was on Peacock. And you could, there was some like this foursome of these holes. So the first day I watched Tiger, because he was one of the foursomes. And he comes out and he looks really good for 3 holes, and all of a sudden he doesn't.
Yeah.
He ends up not making the cut, being 12 over. It's just hard. I mean, you're all beat up. You got all these surgeries, and then you play something like the British Open where it's cold and it's rainy and it's damp.
Oh yeah.
And you've got all these bone and muscle issues. It's hard.
Can't even imagine. Well, we're a couple days past the All-Star break, and the Pirates are now above 500 for our baseball moment, right? This will be our instead of stealing a little Pirate moment.
The Pirates are 1 game above 500, hosting the Cardinals tonight, and coming off 3 consecutive sellouts. I don't think they'll sell out tonight. I'm hopeful they'll sell out tomorrow night when Skeens pitches.
I feel like he's become, that dude. So, yeah.
You know what? You talk about living up to the hype. I mean, 22-year-old kid pitching the All-Star game, and he pitches to 4 batters. Nobody gets the ball out of the infield. He walks 1 guy on a close pitch.
Yeah.
I'd say he lives up to the hype.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I'll just get the weight, I guess. And ESPN's going to have to figure out a way to get him on TV on Sunday night. So we'll see if that happens.
That seems like something that they should be able to do.
You would think.
It's the Cardinals too, right? I mean,
it's the Cardinals. It should be a really good series. But you can almost always tell it's going to be the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Mets, and the Cubs, even though the Cubs suck.
Yeah.
I mean, those are going to be your teams that are on. You got Aaron Judge, you got Ohtani. That's what you're going for.
Yeah.
That's what they like to show. And then the markets like Boston and Chicago that are really good, real traditional teams with unique ballparks, where the ballpark is as much of a star as the players.
It's true. Although the Pirates have a very nice ballpark.
They do have a very nice ballpark. As 1/3 of the people 1/3 of the sellout each night was from Philadelphia.
Which is awesome.
Yes. Yeah, that's impressive. It's 13,000 people.
4 seat Permane Brothers instead of steak and cheese sandwiches, you know.
Yeah, and they showed the Permane brothers, and the sandwich that they simplified the menu at the ballpark, and the sandwich they always show is the Pittsburgher, which is just a burger. And I got to tell you, Jason, it is the driest, tasteless burger I've ever eaten.
Yeah, it's not.
I got one when I was at the Penguin game just because I wanted Permane brothers. And it's a dry hamburger on Italian bread with lettuce and tomato, slaw, tomato, and French fries.
Yeah, you need
The burger itself is just horrible.
the chopped up steak is just it's the original and it's the way it should be done. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
I'm not the big.
This is like a cube steak kind of thing. It's just horrible.
Yeah, you never like see those places just resting on their laurels and reputation becoming good.
Yeah.
On another note,
I do what's the quickest thing in the ballpark, I guess.
Yeah, I did get NCAA football video game, new one.
So the new game with all the athletes get paid now.
With all the athletes getting paid, it's always played a little faster and looser than Madden, which you would kind of hope because it's college. You can get away with laterals in college football that you could not do. You know, you can run the I form, wing T, and all sorts of weird formations. You know, my minor gripes would be the crowd still looks like it did the last time I played the game.
Okay.
Where you sort of feel like they could have, you know, you don't see the crowd that often, but when you do, you feel like you're like, whoa, that's a different era of graphics. But I'm playing a dynasty, and I chose Oregon because I like their uniforms,
Okay.
and they're a pretty solid squad. And you know, you have like 6 or 7 different uniforms to choose from. When the game starts and you're playing at Oregon, you know, you get the hometown, the fight song, the duck gets on the motorcycle, leads the players out. I think it's a lot of. I mean, I think the problem with any annualized sports game, there's always going to be little things you can nitpick. Like I said, the crowd and you know the commentators. Like they don't have game day, which I always fast forward it to anyway. After the first couple times you see it, like some of the things people have complained about. You know, game day is cool once in a while, but like once you've sort of seen, oh, it's Oregon versus Oregon State. Here's game day. It's nice, but I can see why I'd rather see the players get the money than spend more money. You know, charge more money to have game day in there. And then the other complaint.
So, can you play different teams from different decades?
I don't think so. I think you can, not in the dynasty mode. They do have a couple. They talked about adding some things as things progress. But you can play with different players throughout college history in their. I don't want to call it gotcha because you can technically earn all the cards, technically being the key word, by doing drills and participating. It's just you get in-game currency, and you need a lot of in-game currency to buy the good players. Or you can pay extra money and get the currency and then buy the players. So it's one of those, you know. But yeah, they typically, I mean, in the past, like you could play as Barry Sanders in Oklahoma State. And, you know, they usually have like a couple of the greatest stars. Most of those are involved in that particular area.
Okay.
And then, like I said, the other complaint, which I think is a stupid one, given that we have Amazon Music and Apple Music, and music is just so spread out as far as people's taste. They don't have it. They usually used to have like a soundtrack. And I think NCAA was a combination of like alt rock and rap. But I think it's so easy just to play your own soundtrack that I don't really know why you would, you know. Because I don't know, like, unless you're playing Taylor Swift, like, there's not, like, I don't know what the genre of 2023, 2024 is, you know? Like, it feels like people's taste, there's so many ways to consume all this different music. Like, unless you're on the very, very mainstream and you're never going to be able to pay, you know, the top people to put a song in a video game, that it just seems like it's just a waste of everybody's time and money, you know. You can play it right through your PlayStation or Xbox, so it's like I don't understand why people are mad about that. The music, anyway.
Well, speaking about college football, still a lot of noise about Florida State and Clemson, and they're not going to get in the SEC. And the SEC said they're going to manage 16 teams. Why should they divide the pie up and get people smaller pieces of the pie? And
Yeah.
I'm totally in agreement with that. The Big Ten won't take them. So they'll either end up staying in some kind of a reformatted ACC, or if the Big 12, I've seen the rumors about the Big 12 now taking Florida State, Clemson, Washington State, and Oregon State, which
It seems
I don't know,
insane.
to me doesn't make a lot of sense. But
No. I know
they
it's
love
just,
the controversy. They love having stuff to talk about.
it's true. And I understand that things evolve and that's just the way the world works. But like, it was nice when things seem more regional, you know, like this part of the country, it's the ACC. Then we have the SEC, then the Big 12. And it's like, you know, and now obviously we just have giant super conferences and you forget who plays who and who's on, you know.
Yeah.
It's weird. But it happened. It is what it is.
It is a weird point in time, no question.
Yeah. I don't have food, but I do have entertainment.
Okay, what's your entertainment?
We did not consume the band Vampire Weekend, but we had sort of a house Vampire Weekend. We watched Abigail, which is on Peacock right now. It just premiered. It is about a heist where they kidnap a little girl, and it's all a scam to get them trapped in a house with a tiny vampire who gets to hunt them throughout the house. That's, you know, the blood and the gore is pretty goofy movie, so as opposed, you know, as opposed to like really gory and scary. Little girl is fantastic, and it's just a fun little good vampire movie.
Okay.
And then because we have AMC Plus, we started rewatching, and we're from New Orleans. We started watching Interview with a Vampire, and the show was very solid. Unlike the movie, you have two good actors in it, which really helps. So,
Okay.
especially Lestat, who I think of all the Tom Cruise roles that I think are incredibly overrated, I think he might have been the worst in that movie, and that's saying a lot, given Tom. But this guy that plays Lestat is really, really good.
And what's the time period that show that in?
It's kind of cool because if you remember the movie, Christian Slater was the interviewer, right?
Right.
So now we are like 40 years in the future, and it's not Elliot Gould. Maybe it is Elliot Gould. But there's and he's back, and he goes to Dubai to meet the vampire again because he didn't publish anything about him. And he's an old man with Parkinson's, and he agrees that he will redo the interview because he was, you know, young and on drugs and wasn't paying attention. And the vampire admits that he was too angry to talk about the story at the time. So then they sort of, that's their premise for going to bat. And he's like, you know, I didn't ask the right follow. Yeah, and then the reporter's like, look, he's like, I wasn't asking the right follow-up questions. I was scared I let you get away with, you know, train rolling me like a politician on answers. And I didn't say anything back because I was terrified you were going to kill me. He's like, but now I'm old and, you know, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to die. So now they're retelling the story, but he gets to, you know, so we're back when they first met in New Orleans and they were moving forward. But I like the way that they, you know, sort of did that premise of like, you know, I wasn't a good reporter. You weren't a good storyteller. Let's really, now that time has passed, we can tell the story properly.
That's all. I like that premise.
Yeah, it's a really good premise. And then, like I said, it's well cast. It's shot here in New Orleans, so it looks really cool. We're only 2 episodes in, though, so I mean, I don't want to, you know.
Hey, have you watched Lady in the Lake?
I have not. I heard not great things about that show.
Okay. I saw it's on Apple, and I was going to test it. There's 3 episodes out now, so I was going to see what I thought about it.
Yes, we thought about watching it. We just, you know when you read like the 2 or 3 reviews and you're just like, oh, that's, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I finished You'll Like It Darker by Stephen King, the 10 short stories and the 2 novellas.
Yeah.
And I would recommend that. I thought it was really, really well done. And I know Chase listens to the podcast, so I'm reading Cleat, the latest in the Dave Robichaud series, focusing on Cleat. And it's really, really tight so far. I really enjoy it.
Okay. That's good to hear.
Food and outlet, I've got a bunch of Goldbelly shipments last week, so had Bassett's ice cream with cookies from some cookie dough from some famous cookie shop in Philly that you're supposed to bake the cookies and make ice cream sandwiches, so we might do that this week. We got McLuhan's Lobster Shack coming tomorrow, so I'm excited about that.
It's a very exciting week of eating.
Yeah, and then we're going to drive down to Sarasota on Wednesday because I want to go to Yoder's, the Amish Farmers Market.
Oh, they make good pie.
And eat at Yoder's.
Yeah, you've eaten at Yoder's before, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what your favorite is. Chocolate peanut butter pie.
It is, because it's the least peanut buttery chocolate peanut butter pie I've ever had. Honestly, every slice of pie from there, no matter what kind of pie they make, it's fantastic. It just...
So we'll be headed there on Wednesday, so I'll post a few things. I'm back to posting food now, and last week I posted a hot sausage hoagie that I made with onions, peppers, and imported provolone cheese that my friend Giorgio sent me from Italy. And I told my doctor at the cancer center that I ate that the next day when I talked to him. And he goes, "Well, how'd that sit?" I said, "It sat fine." And he told me that I'm eating like people have had the surgery 6 to 12 months ago. So I took that as a compliment.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if about boxing to know if Jake Paul beating that guy was a big deal. But I saw a lot of hype about that.
Bare knuckle though, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was. Yeah, so we'll talk NFL next week, and NFL is starting, so be excited, everybody.
We are excited. We are excited. All right, everybody, have a good week.